Have you ever seen a political comeback that almost seemed impossible? Well, that's exactly what happened in Canada right before the 2025 federal election. It's a story of leadership, strategy, and how one man, Mark Carney, helped the Liberal Party pull off a stunning turnaround. Let's break it down. It all started with a crisis. Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister since 2015, was struggling. His popularity had dropped sharply. By early 2025, the Liberals trailed the Conservatives by over 20 points. Canadians were frustrated by rising costs and scandals. It looked like Pierre Poilievre's Conservatives would win easily. Then Trudeau resigned. Everything changed. Mark Carney, a respected economist and former central banker, stepped in to lead the Liberals. He'd never run for office before, but won the leadership in a landslide. People saw him as smart, honest, and capable. Most importantly, he wasn't tied to Trudeau's baggage. Carney's first big move? He scrapped the consumer carbon tax. He eliminated one of Trudeau's most controversial policies. This helped Canadians struggling with high costs and undercut the Conservatives' main talking point. But the real game changer, it came from outside Canada. Across the border, US President Donald Trump had just started his second term, and he wasn't wasting any time. He hit Canada with aggressive new tariffs targeting our exports and hurting Canadian businesses. Then, in a shocking comment, Trump suggested Canada should become the 51st state of the United States. That didn't sit well with Canadians. Instead of ignoring it, Carney leaned in. He made the entire election about one big question: who will stand up for Canada's independence? Suddenly, this wasn't just about taxes or healthcare anymore. It was about sovereignty. It was about pride. It was about telling the world, we are Canadian and we will not be pushed around. In Quebec, where independence and identity matter deeply, the message hit hard. The Liberals surged, winning 43 seats in Quebec, flipping several from the Bloc Québécois. They swept Toronto and did well in other major cities. The NDP collapsed, especially in British Columbia, losing much of their support. The Conservatives stuck to inflation and the economy, missing the new conversation. On election night, the results shocked everyone. The Liberals won 168 seats, just 4 short of a majority. Months earlier, they'd been 20 points behind. But that's not all. Something huge happened in Ontario. Pierre Poilievre, the Conservative leader, lost his own seat. In 2025, he was defeated by Bruce Fanjoy, a newcomer focused on housing and cost of living. Fanjoy won by over 3,700 votes. Poilievre says he'll stay on as leader for now. But losing your own seat is a very big deal. So what helped Carney and the Liberals win this election? First, the leadership change gave the party a fresh start. Second, Carney listened to voters and removed the unpopular carbon tax. Third, the Liberals used Trump's aggressive behavior to fuel Canadian nationalism. Fourth, the NDP collapsed and many voters switched to the Liberals. And fifth, Carney ran a smart, focused campaign while the Conservatives didn't adapt. Together, those things changed everything. This election wasn't just about politics, it was about identity. It was about standing tall as Canadians in the face of outside pressure. And it was about trusting someone new to lead the country through difficult times. Mark Carney proved that change is possible when you listen, adapt and focus on what really matters, and in the end the people responded. He now leads Canada with a minority government, and he faces big challenges ahead: economic uncertainty, housing affordability, and an unpredictable United States president. Now let's talk about what comes next. Mark Carney may have won the election, but governing a minority government is never easy. He'll need to build partnerships, negotiate with other parties, and make smart decisions quickly. Because the issues Canadians care about, like housing, healthcare, inflation and jobs, aren't going away. Let's start with housing. It's one of the country's biggest problems. Home prices are out of reach for many young Canadians, and rent keeps rising. Cities are struggling with homelessness and a lack of affordable housing. Carney promised to work with provinces and cities to speed up construction. Now that he's in power, will he deliver? Then there's inflation. Canadians are still paying more for groceries, gas and other essentials. The cost of living has become a daily struggle for many families. Carney's background as an economist gives him an edge here. He understands how global markets work, and he's led central banks before. But fixing inflation isn't something any one leader can do overnight. It will take a mix of smart policy, international cooperation, and patience. And what about healthcare? Emergency rooms are overwhelmed, wait times for surgeries and specialist appointments are too long. The healthcare system is under pressure and people are scared it might break. The new Liberal government has promised to increase healthcare funding, and hire more frontline workers. But with a minority government, they'll need to work with other parties to pass any major changes. The United States is the big wild card. President Trump's return brings uncertainty and aggressive trade policies. Canada must be ready for anything, protecting businesses and standing firm in negotiations. That means building new partnerships and reducing our dependency on U.S. markets. Some say this could be the start of a more independent Canadian foreign policy. And how are Canadians responding? Well, voter turnout in 2025 was the highest it's been in over a decade. More people, especially young voters, showed up because they felt this election truly mattered. They weren't just voting for a party, they were voting for Canada's future. That renewed engagement is something all parties should pay attention to, because it shows that Canadians do care. They want leadership that listens, that adapts, and that respects the values this country stands for. Mark Carney now carries the weight of those expectations. He has a chance to reshape what it means to be a political leader in this country. Not just with big promises, but with real, measurable results. And whether you voted Liberal, Conservative, NDP, Green or Bloc, one thing's clear: this election changed the game. It reminded all of us that politics isn't just headlines or hashtags, it's about who we are as a country. It's about the future we're building for the next generation. So let's stay informed, let's stay involved, let's hold our leaders accountable, because the work doesn't end with a vote, it begins the day after. And now it's your turn. What do you want to see from this new government? What issue matters most to you right now? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's make this more than a conversation. Let's make it a movement. Like, subscribe, and share this video if you found it helpful. And remember, this is just the beginning. Leave a comment so we can keep the conversation